Have you ever wanted to have sex with a burrito? Probably not, but I have. Now, when ranking these foods, there's four main criteria I'm going off of. One, texture. Will it feel good? Is it soft? Is it hard? Two, gripability. Is it loose? Is it soft? Three, practicality. Now, when smashing the food, right, we don't want it to be a one pump and dump type situation. It has to be crackable, you feel me? Number four, temperature. Obviously, we don't want to be catching any burns. We don't want hypothermia, no numbing on my dick, right? So yeah, with that being said, let's get to the tiers. Briefly explaining the tiers, at the top we have I would rather fuck than eat. Pretty self-explanatory, the absolute pinnacle of smashable foods, right? Next up, we got would smash. Would be inclined to smash this thing, whether it be out of curiosity or pleasure. Crackable. It's definitely doable, but I would not be as inclined to smash the food as the foods in the tier above, right? Next up, we got would require heavy modification. Food is definitely smashable, right? But it would need a lot of preparation beforehand. Whether that mean cutting a hole in there, lubing it, whatever. Not possible. I just don't see it happening. Some food's just a no-go. You can't smash it no matter how hard you want to. Next up, immoral. There's not many that are going in this tier, right? But it's the things that are very smashable. I just couldn't bring myself to do it, right? Would crack you. Now, I personally am not gay myself, right? But if you are, this tier's for you. Final tier, nature's lubricant. You could not smash this food, but this food could help you smash other foods, right? Quick disclaimer, I want to preface the video by saying I do not condone anyone to fuck their food, right? This is for educational purposes only. With that being said, though, let's get to ranking. Okay, right off the bat, chia seed pudding. When thinking of the main criteria, the chia seed pudding, it's got texture. The seeds, they almost mold. That makes it quite practical, actually. Yeah, it's not a one pump and dump type situation. You could just repeatedly go at this shit. It molds. It'll like mold to the shape of your cock, right? With that being said, the temperature could hold us back. It's typically cold. However, when considering the temperature, we have to keep in mind microwaving, that's quick. If a food's too cold, it's not going to get docked many points. However, a food could get docked for having to be put in the fridge because obviously that'll take longer. With that being said, it's practical. Lovely texture, good gripability. Obviously, just microwave it. We might be onto a strong contender for the most crackable food. Definitely a wood smash. Would I rather fuck it than eat? Low key, yeah. Okay, we already got one of the pinnacle. Next up, for those of you who don't know, this food is called a calzone. I also did not know what a calzone was until I started researching foods for this video. However, if you look at calzone, right, I mean, it just looks crackable. This thing, a good gripability, you just press it perfect. The food inside, it molds, it's warm, not much else to it, really. Now, you'll see on the list, we've got quite a few more bread-based, pastry-based foods. However, I think when compared to the other ones, they're not competing with the calzone. I hate to start the tier list off too repetitive, but we've got two back-to-back absolute titans in the industry. Next up, we got an interesting one. We got ice cream. Now, ice cream is a good introduction to the nature's lubricant tier. You could not fuck ice cream. Catch hypothermia on your dick, probably. Numbing, it would not feel good. However, stick it in the microwave 20 seconds. It just works as natural lubricant. You can just go in and out of other foods. It can help you fuck whatever your heart desires, basically. Perfect example of nature's lubricant. Next up, we got turkey. Turkey is a tricky one, right? If you look at a turkey, realistically, it's probably one of the most crackable things on this list. I mean, look at everything else, right? Turkey, it's got a hole in the bottom. You could probably crack the shit out of a turkey, right? But it's just too immoral. I don't think I could bring myself to do it, right? It would just feel wrong. Anyway, moving on. Next up, we got cabbage. Now, hear me out. With a cabbage by itself, you're not doing a lot to that, right? However, look at this. This image actually perfectly demonstrates it. Right? Over here, we have some flaps. Now, my theory is you cut a hole directly in the center. You're gonna feel those flaps. Right? That's some good texture. Cabbage has a lot going on for it. And in terms of gripability, I think the flaps mold, right? Also, it's a nice round object. You could just hold it. Little thrust action, right? However, this is a good introduction into would require heavy modification tier, right? It's definitely smashable in my opinion. However, would need a lot of work beforehand, right? Next up, we got an apple. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I just added this to pad out the tier, right? There's no shot you're smashing an apple. Like, it's just not possible. It's not big enough. Even if you cut a hole in it, nothing's happening with an apple, right? Next up, we got bananas. Do I need to elaborate? Okay, this is an interesting one. A strawberry. Now, if you look at a strawberry, right, it's not big. Strawberries are basically nature's butt plug, if we think about it. I don't know how much more I can elaborate on that. Now, if strawberries nature's butt plug, grapes are kind of like nature's anal beads, right? I mean, shit, maybe they get stuck up there, but I don't know. If you're into that, right, grapes are probably perfect. Next up, we have a fun one, right? Mangoes. You see, I have a theory with mangoes. You look at this, it doesn't seem crackable at first glance. But my thing is, I think this will provide you with texture. However, as you see in this image, this bit is like folded. It's curved at the top, right? Little squares are separated. My theory is, if you curve it the opposite way, will the square still remain, or will it be a flat sort of like edge at the top? If it's flat, it's not crackable, right? My theory, you get two of them, you curve them, and then you just stack them, right? And then you dual wield that shit, and then it's perfect texture, really. I don't know about the temperature of mangoes. I don't think they're cold. It's durable as well. Yeah, I think mango, it would require heavy modification, right? But I do think it's definitely crackable. An orange. Now, the reason orange is different to apples is because the inside is like, it's juicy, right? However, I think you cut a hole in it, right? It just pops the center bit. It's just liquid at that point. You can't work with anything here. Not possible, but for different reasons than apple. Fucking hell, pineapple. This is one of the most heavily debated topics of all time, right? Would you rather shit a pineapple or piss a grape? However, I think you shit a pineapple, you're just getting a prolapse. This shit's way too big. The texture is terrible. You're not doing anything with a pineapple, right? Not even would crack you. It's not possible. Nothing's happening. And the stalk, long gone. Hot Pockets, yeah. Immediately would rather fuck than eat. I've never ate a Hot Pocket, but could definitely foresee myself cracking one.
Obviously, you look at the Hot Pocket, right? It's got filling inside. Single wheel there. You're good to go. Basically a built-in pocket pussy, right? It's warm. Let's see. It's got the texture down, right? It can have fillings, it can have meat, it can have tomato sauce, cheese. We'll get the cheese later. Perfect temperature, you just microwave it for a few seconds. In terms of gripability, you just single wheel, right? You're good to go. And practicality, that's just not breaking. Yeah. Well, it depends on the length of the Hot Pocket as well, but as far as I'm concerned, I would rather fucking eat a Hot Pocket.
Interesting one. Mashed potatoes. I don't actually think mashed potatoes is as crackable as you may assume, right? I think it goes crackable. Wouldn't require much modification. However, inside might have to be less cooked than the outside, right? I think you scoop a little hole in it, I think you're good to go. Add some gravy on that, and some of nature's lubricant, right? Soft outside could provide good texture. However, I think base mashed potato like this, right? It won't mold. I think one pump and you're done. I would still say it's crackable, though. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think peanut butter is that crackable, right? Now, peanut butter is infamous. You put it on your balls, right? The dog might lick it. Yeah, it's not going to mold, obviously. I think one pump, you're done. Nah, it's not possible. However, I think Nutella is the superior peanut butter, right? It's a lot more kind of fluid, it's a lot liquidier. For that reason, I think it molds. Additionally, Nutella smells better than peanut butter, right? Chocolate would be very pleasant, I think. You could microwave it, I don't know how that would affect the gripability. I'm going to put it crackable. Honey. It's very viscous, it's very slidey. It'll add perfect gripability. Overall 10 out of 10 performance. We got the LeBron of nature's lubricant over here. And you can eat it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Next up, we got two big dogs in the industry. Apple strudel and apple pie. However, in my opinion, apple strudel mogs apple pie to death. It's got this almost sausage roll type shape, which we'll get to later. It's liquidy on the inside, right? It's warm, you microwave it, you're sorted. Now, this image is showing that it's cut into multiple slices. However, I think one solid apple strudel, you're good to go. It's basically a hot pocket. However, this has the benefit of probably smelling lovely, okay? Not much thought needed. Instant, I would rather fuck than eat here. Above the calzone, I think. Next up, we got apple pie. Now, I feel like the shape of apple pie, long circle, right? I don't think it's that crackable. You definitely have to modify at least. You have to put a hole in it. The temperature would be lovely. However, I think it's a one pump and dump type situation. The texture would feel lovely though. There's no doubt about the texture, right? However, I think because of the sheer superiority of the apple strudel, this one has to get docked into wood smash. I think you put some ice cream on it, you're good to go. There's a reason I talked about it at the start of the video, right? Burrito, instant top tier.
First off, you can customize what's inside it, right? More meat, it'll probably add more gripability, I imagine. You can add some guacamole in there, right? Smell lovely. You can play with your heart's design customizing this shit, right? This shit has endless possibility. In terms of gripability, right? Single wheel that shit, you're good to go. Additionally, you can cut it to whatever your desired length. Temperature-wise, I think this thing's sorted. Put it in the microwave, you're good to go.
Yeah, undisputed goat. We got something quite similar here, a panini. However, if you look at the panini, there's gaps on the side. It's not a solid cylinder like the burrito. I think for this reason, it's getting hard stuck in the wood smash tier. Similar to the burrito, the panini, you can customize what's in it, right? However, it's not as versatile. The texture, I don't think, would be as good as... It's not as compact as a burrito, right? However, you can put cheese on it. You got some solid lubricant going on. Additionally, it's toasted. I don't know whether that would affect the texture. Maybe negatively, actually. It's definitely a wood smash. To nobody's surprise, mac and cheese is going instantly in I would rather fuck than eat. We've all seen the video about the guy who ranked the most smashable pasta. This is scientifically proven to be the most crackable pasta. You put it in a jar and you're sorted. In terms of sheer texture, this shit's just heaven. Put it in the microwave, it's lovely warm. In a jar, it'll mold. Yeah, not much to say, really. Is it more crackable than... Yeah. Honestly, it's going over the burrito as well, considering you have a jar. Similarly to mac and cheese, next up we got spaghetti. The sauce, it adds some lubricant. However, I think in comparison, it's just going in wood smash. Obviously, it has the same points, right? It's very moldable if you put in a jar. However, it just gets mocked to oblivion by mac and cheese, right? Next up, we have an interesting combination. We got peaches, and next to it, we got eggplant. When you're thinking of emojis, right, the two most crackable emojis that come to mind, peaches and eggplants. However, contrary to popular belief, neither of these things are smashable. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do anything with a peach. It's basically an apple. This thing looks like it's got to be censored. I can't lie. Yeah, not possible. And an eggplant. The sheer scale of an eggplant, right? You can't do anything with an eggplant. Not even Bonnie Blue could take this shit, right? It wouldn't even go and would crack you. It's not possible. However, hear me out. You can cook the eggplant. Cut a hole, put some vegetable oil on the inside, maybe put some herbs in that shit. This is very moldable, very soft texture. It's relatively grippable. You might have to dual wield it if it's a massive eggplant, right? For that reason, I'm happy with crackable. Oh. You know what? Smash this thing. I'm also docking apple pie, just crackable. Next up, we got tacos. However, first up, we got the hard shell taco. Hot take, hard shell tacos are maybe one of the worst foods of all time, and I would rather eat than fuck this food. I still wouldn't want to eat this food. One bite, it breaks. Same rule applies. You can't grip it, it'll break apart. Then there's just meat on the floor. Your dick's covered in whatever salsa. Not possible. It's not worth it. However, next up, we got the soft shell taco. The soft shell taco is just the hard shell taco, but better in every way. Better gripability. Everything's not necessarily going to spill out if you fold it the right way at the back. Instant crackable tier. Additionally, you put guacamole, put salsa, similar to the burrito. Oh, soft shell tacos are burritos if you think about it. Instant crackable tier, in my opinion. I was not aware what this was. This is a Philly cheesesteak for those that don't know. Immediately I foresee this being one of the most peak peak crackable foods. I think we're working with some type of beef. I think in terms of meat, beef is one of the most crackable. It's got cheese in there. This thing looks kind of massive though. You might have to dual wield it. Unless it's the size of like a hot dog bun, in which case single wielding would be efficient. The main thing working against this, I think, is kind of disgusting, right? You don't want to look at this shit. Yeah, it would probably feel slightly immoral fucking this thing. Cheese adds good texture, warm temperature, good gripability. This goes in wood smash. However, it does get dock points for being just disgusting to look at. Next up, we got a sloppy Joe. Let's just say my Joe's getting sloppy. Yeah, same rule applies as the Philly cheesesteak. This thing is insanely crackable. Maybe slightly less. I imagine you can't just dive straight in the meat, otherwise it'll all spill out, right? You have to grip that shit. Or maybe you crack between the bit at the top where the bun is and the meat to create less spillage. It's definitely crackable though, but just because of how disgusting. Yeah, you'd probably feel like a little gremlin after smashing these things. Okay, next up we got a burger, right? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say the burger is more smashable than a sloppy Joe and a Philly cheesesteak. This image is perfect, right? You've got the cheese, adds lubricant. I think double patty this thing. It'll probably smell decent. Just dual wheel, you're good to go. Next up, we got donuts. People say stack donuts on it, but I don't think you can smash donuts on it. Looking at the circumference of the hole in the center, I don't think it'll be the right size. Additionally, it's not practical. You'll probably have to stretch your hands out right to push it up and down. I don't think it's worth it. A bit of a waste of food, in my opinion. In terms of durability, I foresee this one breaking. In terms of gripability, it might be tight. However, there's a very small elasticity on that. Definitely doable. For that reason, would require heavy modification. Similar to donuts, next up we got bagel. You can toast bagels, so that might give it extra points. I don't know if that would make it softer or harder. For that reason, it goes next to donuts. Now we got soup. I only included soup to just pad out the tier, if I'm being honest. It's not crackable. Obviously, we're getting burns. There's no gripability. Texture is just liquid. It would smell nice, though. Yeah, unideal. Okay, next up, we have one of my personal favorites on the list. We got this caramel jelly type thing. Obviously, it's got caramel, perfect lubricant. Cut a hole in it, I think you're good to go. It'll mold. Additionally, looking at this thing, it's got ridges. Ridges is peak texture. You stack a 3x2, right? You got 1, 2, 3. Maybe some way to stick them together, and you're just sliding in and out, right? Maybe put them in a jar, and I think you're good to go. It would require heavy modification. However, it's got a lot going for it. It's going at the top of wood smash. Next up, we got jelly.
Now, my theory is I think the idea of smashing jelly is better than actually smashing jelly, right? I don't think this actually molds, if I'm not mistaken. I think you pump it in once, right, and you're done, basically. I think you pump it in once and you're done. However, in terms of texture, I think jelly's unbeatable, right? Gripability, yeah, I think where it really struggles is gripability, right? Yeah, it'll almost like just mold to your dick, right? But actually scratch that, it will not mold. Jelly's kind of useless now, I think, though. It would require heavy modification.
Actually, I forgot about the jar, right? You put this in a jar. No, 100% wood smash, right? Put this in a jar, it's a whole nother game. What the hell is this thing? I'm pretty sure this is a corned beef pastry type thing. No, corned beef pudding, that's what it is. Corned beef pudding, right? This looks absolutely disgusting. You do not want to smash this. You do not want to be anywhere near this, right? However, it's got this pastry outer layer. You don't see any of the stuff on the inside, right? I think with modification, cut a hole in this, the meat texture on the inside, right? It's going to be perfect texture. I think in terms of gripability, it's quite a dense sphere almost. It's not going to explode. Nothing's going to happen, right? You could pump and dump this thing. Put in the microwave 10-15 seconds, you're good to go. It's not a mac and cheese's level. I think it is more not more crackable than the burrito. Next up, we got cucumber. Pretty safe to say where this one's going. Not much more to elaborate on, really. Ketchup. Ketchup is another lubricant. However, I think the sheer smell of it, pretty safe to say it's at the bottom of the tier, right? Ketchup's not as viscous as honey. It's not slippery as ice cream, right? Bottom of the tier for sure. While we're here, we may as well just This feels like cheating, right? Oil, just instant top. Is oil even a food, really? It's more like a lubricant at this point. Now here we have an interesting case, right? We got noodles. However, here I've got thin noodles and udon noodles, right? Udon noodles taste miles better, but not only do they taste better, they're better for cracking, right? Now I'm gonna assume the same logic applies to these as the mac and cheese and spaghetti, right? You put them in the jar. Without a jar, they're not crackable, right? I don't think the thin noodles feel as good, even in a jar. I don't think they'll mold as easily, right? Obviously, they'd have to be microwaved. The texture on thin noodles won't feel as good. However, where thin noodles lack in texture, udon noodles thrive, right? Udon noodles, looking at them, you got the ridges. It's like the caramel jelly situation. Put this in a jar, it even tops spaghetti, right? Additionally, you could put some stuff like mushrooms in, maybe, add some additional texture. Hot Pockets is kind of getting snubbed here. With that being said, it's not on mac and cheese's level. I think this goes, it's definitely above the corned beef pudding. I don't think you'd feel guilty after cracking udon noodles. I think that's another thing we have to consider, the clarity you'd get. Corned beef pudding, it's almost in the immoral tier for the amount of clarity you'd get. Next up, we got cheese. Now, when I'm talking cheese, I'm not talking the solid. You're not able to crack that. However, you melt cheese, you put it on everything else. Perfect example of nature's lubricant. And it's going to be hot. Therefore, it goes above ice cream. Now we got one of my personal goats. For those of you who don't know, this is a molten chocolate cake. It's just a normal cake on the outside. However, it's got a hot, gooey layer on the inside, right? You know what I'm saying? This is an instant I would rather fuck than eat category. However, it does need to be said, you could catch burns from this. For that reason, like this image is demonstrating, I think the strat is you cut a hole in the top. However, it does need to be noted, this might be a one pump dump type situation. The layer on the outer bit is actually really thin. Therefore, it might not be crackable, but even that first pump is going to feel great, you know what I'm saying? It does get docked to wood smash. Now we got sticky toffee pudding. In my opinion, sticky toffee pudding. In my opinion, sticky toffee pudding is very similar to the chocolate molten cake. Look, it doesn't have the inner bit. However, it's very dense. I think this shit molds. You cut a hole in it, you would have to modify this thing. However, you cut a hole in it, you're having a good time. Additionally, you can put ice cream, you can put cream on the top. It's already got built-in lubricant with the sticky toffee on the outside. They're normally relatively warm. Would smash 100%. You know what? I'm placing it firmly above chocolate molten cake. Now, this might be one of the biggest sleeper picks of all time. We got cinnamon bread.
Look at this. You notice the pan going on here? We got a curl, right? I think this thing curls to the shape of your cock, right? I think you add some ice cream in there, you put some cream in there. I think add some lubricant, this thing is perfect. It literally molds. It'll mold to the shape, right? It's soft, the texture is lovely.
It'll smell lovely, smells like cinnamon. You won't get insane clarity from this thing. If mac and cheese is like the LeBron of fuckable food, I think cinnamon bread is like the Stephen Curry. Next up, we got Yule log. Now, this is one of the first things that came to mind for me when I was thinking of Smashable food. However, looking back on it, I don't think this thing's that crackable. Now, it's very soft on the inside, right? I think it definitely molds. However, these things are often not that warm. I think you pump it once, it molds, and then it's not grippable. It just gets mocked to oblivion by the cinnamon bread, right? I think for that reason, it goes crackable. Yeah. Now we got rice pudding. Rice pudding is very similar to chia seed pudding. In a bowl is not crackable, put it in a jar, you're good to go. However, chia seed pudding, it looks more aesthetically pleasing. I think for the sheer volume of seeds in the chia seed pudding, the gripability is going to be better, right? The texture is going to feel nicer. However, that's not to dispute rice pudding, right? Next up, we got octopus. I think this octopus is fried. I don't really know. Either way, instant immoral. Now, you're working with a lot with octopus. Tentacles, you can do a lot with that. These pucker sucker thingies probably add insane gripability is what I'm trying to say. Anything that's just an animal is going to be immoral. I don't think I could bring myself to do it. The clarity would be too much. Next up, we got a sandwich. Now, a sandwich is a baseline, right? It pretty much inspired half the things on this list. For that reason, you can't dispute the sandwich. It's going a solid wood smash. Yeah, the sandwich basically paved the way for the whole list. However, with that being said, it's a lot of effort, right? You got to dual wield it. You can customize the fillings, though. I think something like ham slices would be very practical. Maybe toast some cheese in there. Speaking of which, next up we got cheese toasty. Now, this is just a better sandwich in every way, right? Obviously, you don't have the meat. However, it's warm, it's insanely grippable. You're still gonna have to dual wield it, unfortunately. However, it makes up for that with the sheer gripability. Texture would feel amazing. It's going above the calzone. I think the only thing holding the cheese toasty back is the length. How big's a basic piece of bread? I don't think a basic piece of bread's length is gonna cut it, right? For that reason, it's still in a very respectable place in the top tier. Next up, we got a cheesecake. Now, I think cheesecake is in a very similar position to apple pie, right? In theory, it's very crackable. However, I think the shape is just awkward. Unless maybe you're putting it in a jar, however, that kind of defeats the point of the cake aspect of it. However, I think maybe you blend some of this, right? You blend the bread. I think the crumbs add a very nice texture. Obviously, with the cream bit, there's no gripability going on here. It'll just mold. Actually, I take back what I'm saying. This thing's not possible. Next up, we got cream. Very similar to ice cream. I'm sure we've all seen videos with cream involved, right? There's a reason. It's not even just nature's lubricant, right? This thing is a straight up lubricant. Over ice cream, actually, because this thing can be warm. Obviously, I would advise don't put this in the fridge. Next up, we're coming down to our final three here, and what a three we have to end off the video. Pancakes. Now, I'm assuming with the pancakes, we're assuming there's syrup on this. We're not just raw dogging straight pancakes, right? With syrup involved, this thing is peak I would rather fuck than eat category. You can put butter on, additional lubricant. You just press it down and insane gripability. You can choose how high up you want to fuck this thing, right? Fucking pancakes is basically the reverse orgy of food, right? You have so much options here. The lubricant is going to be warm. In terms of gripability, this shit's going to mold, obviously. Texture's lovely, it's soft, it's warm. Yeah. What more could you ask for? You know what? I'm actually going to rank the sausage rolls first. I want to end off on a good note with the jam. Now, sausage rolls is quite an in-depth one. Now, sausage rolls vary. You can either have the solid sausage in the middle or almost the meat distributed across the circumference of the sausage roll. This diagram demonstrates it perfectly. The meat is very dispersed throughout it. This version of the sausage roll is obviously very crackable. However, you have to be cautious. You don't want the full sausage, right? You can't do anything with that. However, it's warm on the inside. It's a single wheeled, right? You're good to go. Pump and dump. For that reason, I would put it in wood smash. Now, final note, jam. Now, this jam specifically, strawberry jam, right? It's got strawberries on the inside of the jam. This adds perfect gripability, perfect texture. However, this also demonstrates the jar, right? The jar was a staple on many things through the list. The jar instantly makes things more crackable, right? If you fill it to the top, you're good to go. It smells lovely. You can eat it afterwards, right? You know what I'm saying. In terms of sheer gripability, texture, now, is it better than mac and cheese, though? This might be the toughest decision of the video. You know what? In terms of sheer inspiration, it inspired the culture, right? Without the jar, you could not fuck mac and cheese. Now, when choosing mac and cheese or jam jar, this is kind of like the LeBron versus Michael Jordan. In my mind, the jam jar is like Michael Jordan. Mac and cheese is better. However, Michael Jordan was first. Without the jar, there is no fucking the mac and cheese, right? I think for that reason alone, I'm gonna do it. The jam jar is better. The jam jar is the ultimate crackable food. That being said, like and subscribe for more videos like this. Final disclaimer, I do not condone anyone to smash their food, but if you are, smash jam.